Good afternoon and welcome to our webinar on Study Abroad at Miami University. Before we get started, we want to ask that if you can hear us, if a few of you could send yes to the chat function just so we know that our sound is working, that would be great. And then I also wanted to let you know that throughout the webinar, if you have any questions, please use your chat box and send the questions through writing that way, and then we will make sure that we answer any questions that you have. All right, well, so today my name is Nicole Collins. I'm the Associate Director of Global Programs here at Miami University. In that role, I work with all of our study abroad programs, and we'll talk in a little bit about what all of those are. I studied abroad in Costa Rica when I was an undergraduate student at Case Western Reserve University, so I have firsthand experience with what it's like to be sitting in your student seat and preparing to go to a different country for some academic work.
And hi everyone, my name is Lynn Butler and I'm one of the faculty-led program coordinators here at Miami. You'll have to forgive me, I'm getting over a cold here so my voice is a little scratchy. But my first position here was actually with the Luxembourg program, so I know a lot about both our Lux programs and all of those faculty-led programs all over the world. And like Nicole, I also studied abroad. I did a semester as an exchange program in Lyon, France through the University of Virginia. And it was a fantastic experience, which obviously led me to this position where I am today. And so yeah, we'll tell you a little bit more about study abroad.
So before we get started, I also want to point out that the pictures throughout the presentation are actual pictures of Miami students with their parents during their study abroad programs. So we wanted to make sure that you can see where students have gone and where their parents have visited them as a just kind of fun way to keep the presentation interesting for you. So we want to give some general information about study abroad for you today. You will notice that we keep it pretty general, and that is because one of the great things about studying abroad is that it allows your student to have an independent experience where they are able to meet new challenges and face them head on and learn new skills for coping with those. So we always encourage parents and faculty here at Miami to really let students take ownership of their study abroad experience. So we're today going to provide you with some basic tools and resources so that if your student has questions about things, or if you have questions about how it works here, that you can find that. But ultimately, the best advice for any student is that they come talk to our office, or that they investigate their options for what's going to be best for them personally, professionally, and academically. So Miami University is actually a great place for study abroad. About 56%, and now I think about 57% of Miami students study abroad or away before graduation. There are lots of different opportunities to do that, but it's one of the largest study abroad programs in the country, which is fantastic. So when students talk to us about their fear of missing out, we always tell them, actually, you'll be missing out if you don't study abroad or away.
And so this chart here essentially gives you all the different types of programs that students can go on. So a lot of times we get questions from parents of, what is it going to cost? Is it going to be Miami credit, or is it going to be transfer credit? And the answer is that it depends on the type of program that your student goes on. So the type of program has implications for cost, for credit, and then also whether or not federal financial aid and Miami scholarships can apply towards those fees. So this is the type of thing that we can talk through in an advising meeting for a student. A lot of times it depends on whether the student is in-state or out-of-state, and if they want to go abroad for a semester or just a summer or winter term. All these different factors will help us advise the student as to what type of program that they should go on. And these are all broken down a little bit more clearly on our website as well, so you can read through each program type and what might be best for which type of student. Very briefly, faculty-led study abroad and away programs are programs designed by our own Miami faculty. They take a group of students abroad and they complete courses for Miami credit. You may have heard of our Luxembourg campus. We'll go into this a little bit more later, but that is our own campus abroad in the heart of Europe in Luxembourg. And then below that, you'll see those transfer credit programs. So exchange, co-sponsored and approved, all those are programs through other study abroad companies or other universities. So for those programs, we transfer credit into Miami and it comes back pass-fail rather than affecting a student's GPA. So that's a brief overview.
Mm-hmm. One of the questions that we get a lot is, where do most students go? So about 14% of students study in Luxembourg. The reason that that is small is because that's really one program. So 14% of our students go on our one flagship program in Luxembourg. We do want to mention that if your student is interested in Luxembourg or you are interested in learning about Luxembourg in particular, we are going to have a separate webinar about studying abroad in Luxembourg on January 24th at noon, and that information will be sent out. Mark will send that at the end of this presentation. 26% go on transfer credit programs, and then about 60% of students here at Miami go on faculty-led programs, which again are Miami programs, often short-term, that are led by Miami faculty.
So just briefly about MUDEC. MUDEC is the acronym for our program in Luxembourg. It is our flagship study abroad program, and it's been around for about 50 years now. So we are excited in fall of 2018 to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the program. So that's a pretty big accomplishment. Not a lot of universities have a 50-year-long running study abroad program. At MUDEC, students complete Miami plan requirements. Depending on their major, they may also be able to get major-related coursework done. There's a lot of opportunities for independent studies. So if we don't offer courses in your student's major, they may be able to do an independent project that does count towards their major. And we call it a fully integrated Miami study abroad experience. I mean, it is Miami abroad, it is Miami credit. There's lots of experiential learning activities and field trips. Students are very much integrated into the local community. They live with local host families. And then one exciting addition that we have is that we've begun adding an internship program. So students that go for spring semester can now stay in the summer for an internship. So there's about 15 spots right now for that. So not everybody can do it, but we're increasing the number of spots every year. And those internships cover a wide variety of disciplines, from marketing to theater to working with the local radio station. So some pretty cool opportunities there.
So as far as some general reasons why students should study abroad, if you're here, you likely already know what some of these are. But we've listed some of the benefits of study abroad that students can receive from the opportunity. Obviously, it can give a lot of self-confidence, personal growth, personal skills, language skills. A lot of those are self-evident. One thing that people don't often think of is the opportunity to develop marketable career skills. Over and over, we see employers say that study abroad and intercultural experiences give students a leg up in their career path. So we do want to mention that, just because that's a very tangible outcome that students can get. We want to walk through some of the myths of studying abroad. Study abroad is a lot of things, and we want to walk through also what it is, what the ways in which perceptions are often wrong about study abroad. So one of the most common ones that we hear is that studying abroad is not affordable. We do want to be realistic. Studying abroad does cost money. So you do still have to pay tuition and airfare and all of that stuff. But we're fortunate at Miami to have a lot of programs that are available in a variety of price ranges, and some of them actually cost students less than a semester at Miami. So there are lots of different options out there, and if they start applying early for scholarships and for different opportunities and exploring what works best for them and their particular situation, we can work with a lot of different scenarios. The second myth is that students won't have time to study abroad if they want to graduate on time. Again, planning ahead is the best tool for ensuring that students can study abroad and meet all of their financial, academic, and personal goals. So if students plan ahead, they can often ensure that credit counts towards their global Miami plan, their major requirements, as well as any graduation requirements that they have. Because we have a lot of short-term and long-term opportunities as well, they can achieve those credits in different ways. Another myth is that study abroad programs are far away and require that they speak a foreign language. So the reality is that many study abroad programs are not so far away and often can get, particularly in places like Central America, you can arrive with only a half-day's flight, and often even in the same time zone. So again, depending on what students are looking at, they may not feel as far-flung as it might seem. Additionally, there are a lot of programs that offer courses in English, even in non-English speaking countries. So of course we have a lot of study abroad options in English-speaking countries like Belize, England, Ireland, Australia, New Zealand, but we also have a lot of English-speaking programs and courses that are taught in places like Argentina and China and Morocco and other places in Europe as well. So we encourage students to always explore their options and not to rule out any locations because they believe they won't be able to study there. Another myth is that study abroad course credits will not transfer. We already talked about this a little bit, but MUDEC and faculty-led programs are Miami programs, which means that there is no transfer credit process. The credits are automatically already Miami courses. We also work very closely with students to ensure, if they are worried about their credits transferring back for transfer credit programs, to ensure that they know in advance what that will look like for them to make sure that they're not off track. And of course, we always encourage students to talk to their academic advisors to find out how it fits into their actual plan.
And we got a couple questions that came in, so I'll pause briefly to cover those. There's a question about the minimum GPA requirements to study abroad. And the answer is it depends. It depends on the program. So typically for Miami faculty-led programs, it's 2.25 minimum GPA. Some faculty will set a higher GPA requirement, so that's up to the faculty director. And so that's posted on the website. Students will be able to see what that GPA requirement is for each program. For MUDEC, the minimum GPA is 2.5. And then if you're going with other programs, it depends on what they set it as. Some exchange programs will be as high as a 3.0. And then the second question was, why do programs cost more for out-of-state students? So this it's the same as when you're studying on campus, is that you have out-of-state tuition versus in-state tuition. So when you study abroad in Miami faculty-led programs, you do pay tuition per credit hour, and there's an in-state rate and there's an out-of-state rate. The out-of-state rate is discounted from what you typically pay, so there is a small discount there, but it is more than that in-state tuition rate. So where should you tell your student to start? The first thing to do is just to start researching and thinking about what they want to do. There are a lot of different programs out there, so students just kind of can have some fun looking over the different program options, imagining where they see themselves being abroad, what they plan on studying, setting some goals. There's some good goal setting information on our website. And so, first place is to get started with Study Abroad 101. So this is an in-person information session, or it's a video that can be viewed online. Definitely tell your students to subscribe to the Study Abroad newsletter. We send updates in there about new programs or scholarship opportunities or just events and programs that we're having in our office. They should definitely take a look at the website. Nicole will go through this a little bit later, but she'll show you how to search for programs. There's a lot of different search features on there, so she'll go through that. And then, of course, setting those goals for both personal, academic, and career-oriented experiences. And obviously the best place to see everything that we have is the Study Abroad Fair. This is held every year at the end of September. It's typically a Monday afternoon at the end of September. And we haven't set our date yet for this coming year because we have to reserve the room. and that opens up in April. So we will set it pretty soon. But there's a video on our website that you can learn a little bit more information about the fair and what to expect. But that is the single best place to see all the opportunities that we have and talk with different directors and programs about what it's like to go abroad. Typically students will come in, they'll grab a bag, and they just grab brochures from a lot of different programs. It can be kind of overwhelming because there are so many people there and opportunities to look at, but we always encourage students to just gather everything they're interested in, and then at a later point, take a look through and start kind of digesting what they think they might want to do.
There's the video.
So the next step would then be advising. So we'd have a dual advising process here. First, they'd want to talk with their academic advisor to think about how study abroad will fit into their academic plan. If they go for a summer or winter, a lot of times they can just kind of jump ahead in their coursework with the Miami plan. If they're going abroad for a semester, they want to make sure that they can graduate on time and figure out what courses they need to fulfill abroad. And then, of course, your students should meet with our office with a study abroad advisor. We have one-on-one appointments available that students can schedule on our website, or we have walk-in hours every day of the week. So students can look up those on our website as well. Definitely plan ahead for financial needs. So, you know, a lot of times students won't plan ahead for scholarships, and those applications can sometimes come very early. So students should have a good idea of what their budget is, how much money they may need to save, and how much they may be looking for in terms of loans from financial aid or scholarships. So students should start thinking about that very early. And the last piece is apply. So the application process happens online, and so it's right on our website, which Nicole will take us through next.
Yep. And we also want to mention that if your student is interested in studying abroad and wants to learn more or to get a more in-depth preparation experience, we do offer an IDS 154 course, which is Introduction to Study Abroad, and we offer that both semesters, and your students may benefit from taking that if they want to get more immersion before they go, as well as some country-specific planning and preparation. There are still spots available for this spring. It is 2 credits. So and it's a sprint course, so if your students are looking for something to help enhance their study abroad experience or to consider their options, we highly recommend that they take that course. All right, so these are our staff here at the bottom. We've already mentioned this, but one of the great things about Miami is that your students have the opportunity to prepare and really take ownership of their own experience. But they do that with the support of our staff who are, all of us have actually studied abroad, and we are all eager and willing to help students find the best fit for them for their study abroad experience. We do want to actually leave the official presentation and walk through some of the resources that are available on our website, as well as a few other places. So we're going to walk through that now. So this is our general study abroad and away website. You can see down here that there are various topics that are available for you and your student to click on. We have academics, find a program, finances, housing, health and safety, pre-departure checklist, life abroad, and passports. And then down here at the bottom, this is the Study Abroad Fair video that we mentioned in the middle, Study Abroad 101, which is to the left. And then all the way over to the right, the Miami Luxembourg page navigates specifically to the Luxembourg website. So again, we'll have a webinar in a few weeks about Luxembourg, but in the meantime, that's a good place to look for general information. We do want to point out a couple of great resources. The first one is specifically for parents. So if you go up to the very top and click on this checkbox, and then click on Parents, that will take you to the parent resources. So here we have just some general information about what we encourage students to consider, things for you to think about, FERPA releases to make sure that if your students choose to do so, that we can share information with you, and then supporting your students in study abroad. One great resource in the first section of this website is learning a little bit more about culture shock so that you can support students. One thing that we always like to share with parents is that oftentimes your son or daughter may reach out to you when they're having a rough time, and they may tell you, you know, that things are very difficult and challenging, and then they don't necessarily call you back during the really positive times. So a lot of times they're really leaning on you when they're going through challenges, which is great. And we don't want you to be too alarmed by the fact that that may be all that you hear from them, because when they're out and they're experiencing new opportunities and travel, they may not be as inclined to call. The second resource that's really great is this Parent Guide to Study Abroad. This is offered to us by our membership with IIE. And so if you go to this website right here and click on that link, it will eventually, you can search for the Parent Guide to Study Abroad. So we recommend that if your student is studying abroad or considering studying abroad, that you take a look at this resource designed specifically for parents and how to best support your students. The other place that we want to take you is going back to the main website for Study Abroad and Away. If you come down here and click on Find a Program, it will take you to this website where you can search for different programs. And your students, this is a tool that we highly recommend students use, because as you'll see, you can come over here to the left and click on summer term, winter term, exchange, or co-sponsored programs. But you can also come down here and do a specific program search for the type of program that best suits student needs. So we're actually going to open one of these up and take a look. I already know which one I want to take a look at to show you what we're looking at here. And so you can either search by program name if you already know what you're looking for instance, for Munich or Luxembourg, or you can come to the bottom and students can actually search by their field of study, by program type, by location, language of instruction, and all sorts of different fields that they can choose from, which is fantastic. I'm going to take us into Thank you. I want to take us to one particular program just to take a look and show you the different components included in these different programs. So we're going to look at writing, media, and culture in Italy. And over here you can see that occurs in Florence. And when you click on the program itself, it takes you to the program website. And the dates are included here. You can also get a fact sheet, and it talks about the fields of study and who the advisor is for that area. For this particular program, students would be referred to Lynn Butler, who's on the presentation today. And then down at the bottom, you would see this great information about the program itself. So for this particular one, Dr. Daniele Fioretti is the Miami faculty who's leading this faculty-led program in Italy. You have contact information for him, travel dates, location, the courses that are offered, and then down here you can see more about who this program is designed for, the best fits that may be best for this particular program, the GPA, as well as links to down here you can see the cost. So one thing to note about all study abroad programs is that it's very important to look at the cost of a program to understand everything that goes into it. For all faculty-led programs or any Miami programs, if you come in here, you will see that there are the per credit hour fees, as well as at the bottom the program fee. The program fee includes expenses such as housing, meals, ground transportation, activities, and health insurance on occasion. This varies by program. And the tuition includes all of the academic components. So we always think of this as the tuition that you pay on campus versus the housing and fees and meal plans that you purchase on campus. The other thing to note is that we do have a $175 non-refundable administrative fee for all study abroad and away programs. So if you go back to the search function, you can really search for a wide variety of programs based on your specific student needs. And we always encourage students to do that and to pair that with meetings with their academic advisor as well as their study abroad advisor. So those are some great resources that we encourage you to check out and explore. Of course, our office is always available for any questions or concerns. The last thing that I do want to mention is that a question that we get from parents quite frequently is health and safety for students abroad and how that works. I am one of the people who is on call 24/7 for all students who are studying internationally or off campus. And so we have a wide range of support for students related to health and safety. We have insurance for students who are leaving the country that is comprehensive and includes a wide range of benefits. And we also have an institutional response team who is available 24/7 to respond to any crises worldwide, as well as any immediate student emergencies. So we do provide a wide range of support for students across the world, and we have a lot of resources available that you can check out on our website as well that we utilize to ensure that we're up to date on everything we need for student health and safety. And at this time, we are happy to take any additional questions that you have.
So one question was about that 2-credit Introduction to Study Abroad course that we mentioned earlier. And the course name and number is IDS. It stands for Interdisciplinary Studies 154. It's a 2-credit sprint course that one of our advisors is teaching this coming spring. And there are still spots available. So if your student is at all interested in studying abroad, I definitely encourage them to enroll in that. Another question we got was if a student is applying to FSB for next year, can he still go abroad? And that would be a great question for the academic advisors. It may be that the student needs to take some courses here on campus that are specific to applying for FSB. So I would run that question by the academic advisor. And then good locations for FSB students. FSB actually has their own international office, and they run a lot of their own study abroad programs. So while we do some advising on that, they are the experts on their own programs. They have summer, winter term, and they also have some exchanges as well for a whole semester. So you can find those on our website and then also on the FSB International website as well.
We have a question about departure information and logistics, and how do you know which flight into which airport? So we'll say this a lot, but basically it really depends on the program. Some programs will include international airfares. Students will leave from one particular location and travel together internationally, but most programs actually give an arrival time and date, and students will then select the flight that works best for them based on their schedule and pricing and all that good stuff. One of the reasons for that is that students are often leaving from home for either semester or winter or summer programs, and it gives the flexibility for them to work with what is best for them. One of the questions is, does someone meet them at the airport? Again, that is just highly dependent on the type of program that it is. Some will meet up in the airport. Often others will meet at the hotel where they're all staying. Regardless of how students are traveling and how they're getting to where they are, however, there is always a 24/7 emergency number that they can contact. And the study abroad providers as well as program directors are available if there are issues in transit and students aren't going to arrive on time or whatever that looks like. They can provide support on the ground for some of those issues. We always recommend that students get their own travel insurance. We do provide health insurance and evacuation insurance that students can purchase. But additionally, we recommend that students investigate and explore travel insurance that covers travel disruptions. We also have a question. Someone's looking at a program with outdated dates and they want to know what that means. We often have reiterations of the same program, and so it may just be that the dates haven't been updated yet. However, if they contact our office, if they're interested in that program, they can either contact the program director or our office, and we can help track down the correct dates. If they don't exist yet, then we can give them an idea of what they might expect and what the timeline is for that. It's also worth noting that study abroad advisors, as well as the faculty, will give them lots of pre-departure information, including dates, recommended times to leave, recommendations for what to pack, and all sorts of things specific to their program. So it's not just the application process. There will be lots of information provided throughout the process to make sure that they know what to expect and how to prepare. Do we have any other questions at the moment? All right, so we have another question, which is the priority deadline for Luxembourg was December 1st. And so people are wondering if there are still spots available. The answer is yes, there are. The priority deadline really is for students who know they want to go to Luxembourg very early on and get in that way, but that is certainly not the cutoff time for students to apply. So yes, we still have spaces. We encourage students to apply, and we look forward to receiving their applications. All right, so we've got a question about scholarships and how that works. We have specifically for anyone going on a Miami faculty-led program, there is a scholarship form in the in Studio Abroad, which is the online search, the online portal that we use for applications that we looked at earlier. However, for Luxembourg, someone asked how Luxembourg applications work. That is included in the application. So if your student is interested in being considered for a scholarship for Luxembourg, they just have to check that they're interested in that, and they will be automatically considered as part of the Luxembourg scholarship process. So it's pretty easy. In applying, just make sure they click that box, and they'll be all set. All right, so we've got another question, which is if and when parents visit, when is the best time to do that? So great question. We usually recommend that you don't make any concrete plans until your student is on the ground and knows better what their schedule looks like. Generally speaking, before or after a program is the best time because it is the only way to guarantee that it doesn't interrupt their academic schedule. However, often students have a spring break or time or maybe a long weekend. Because schedules do vary in different places. So we've also had parents visit during during actual academic terms and have that work out really well too. What we always recommend to students and parents is that they be very mindful of their class schedule. Obviously, you want them to get the most out of their experience. And so skipping class or skipping town for a week may not be the best thing for that. So we always recommend working within their schedule and making sure that they're not, that they don't have other plans as well. We've got a question. Do many students study abroad on a program that is not in their major? Yes, quite a few. There are a lot of different options that students take advantage of here at Miami. One is the global plan, which all students have to meet the requirements for, and study abroad automatically counts towards that. And the other is the Miami plan. So often students can get basic courses that way. A lot of students will also use the time if they need a thematic sequence to get a thematic sequence if they're getting 9 credit hours abroad or to do independent studies. There are lots of different ways to meet different requirements.
Okay. So just to clarify, that global plan, that's the Global Perspectives requirement, and that is a part of the Miami plan. So the Miami plan has a bunch of different requirements, and that is one of them. And all of our study abroad programs, all of the courses offered meet that Global Perspectives requirement. A lot of our Miami faculty-led programs are designed to be interdisciplinary. So it may be a 400-level class, but it's designed for all majors. And so students don't necessarily have to have a background in that discipline. The next question that we had was the timeline for January term applications. So we just got proposals for all of our January terms for next year. So we're going through those and going through the process of getting those approved. We expect to have applications for next winter term, so a year from now, open on during spring break or at the very end of spring break. So that'll be sometime in March.
We have another question about Luxembourg specifically and when parents can visit there. It is worth clarifying that because of the way that visas work for semester programs, for this particular program, that the students can't go earlier than the start date because of visa regulations, but they can stay after. However, we are happy to talk to each student individually about their particular schedule and what that looks like, and we'll also be discussing that more in the webinar on the 24th about Munich. We have a question about students taking regular online classes while they're abroad. It really depends on the program. For Luxembourg, for example, they can take up to one online course back at Miami or at another university, and that is absolutely fine. It really depends on what program they're in, how intense it is, what they're doing, and how it fits in with their tuition as well as the other courses that they're taking. Generally speaking, though, students do that on some programs and it's not an issue, and then others don't. So it just depends on what they're doing. All right, we've got this question about how do you subscribe to the Study Abroad newsletter. So it's on the website. I will say that we are working on revamping that, and so we haven't had one for some time now, but we've got, we're working with our marketing person to utilize that list better. So there may not be anything immediately, but of course our website's always available for information and we're always available as well. But that link can be found on the website. All right, so we've got another question. Does our office also manage study away programs? We do. So study abroad, obviously, are international programs that occur outside of the U.S. We also have a large number of study away programs that are domestic programs that occur in the United States. And our office does manage those as well. If they're travel programs, then we do manage that. So those opportunities can be found the same way as the study abroad programs that we've looked at today. We've got programs all over the country, all the way from San Francisco to Miami, Florida, to Washington, D.C. So if students are interested in studying off campus but want to stay in the country, we have lots of options for that as well. Great. Well, I think we have managed to cover all of the questions. They've been great questions. As we've said before, we remain available and are happy to talk to anyone who has questions or concerns. We also hope to see some of your students in our offices soon, or asking questions of us through our contact information. And we thank you for spending this time with us and appreciate your interest in studying abroad at Miami. Thank you.